know what you want. You want to see the movie.
Okay, so let's talk about using Snapchat filters on your dating profile then, because I'm awful tired of it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I obviously always have a flower crown around my head.
Brandon, do you have the little
Like
bear?
a glittery flower crown.
You can see my little bear nose.
Little bear nose
Every
on your
time-
dating profile?
Every time I open up my mouth, just a whole fucking tongue pops out.
That this is the most realistic interpretation of me. A dog with a 2-foot long tongue.
Every time I open my mouth, a rainbow pours out.
What's the does that bother you guys on things like Tinder or OkCupid?
A little bit.
Well, mostly, I mean, I think what I'm seeing on Tinder is kind of different than what you're seeing on Tinder. Because I see more
How so?
straight guys and gay women.
And do they use little cute bear
Not
noses?
as much.
Really?
Not as much.
So
no.
are you saying that's a straight lady
Just
thing?
watching you, like, swipe through, that was a lot. And that's way more than I ever see.
Yeah, it's...
He's a professional Tinderer.
Tinderer.
What?
Professional
That's
Tinderer.
practically his full-time job.
Wow, thanks. Look, I know what I want.
Let's be honest.
And the no?
If you could get paid to be a Tinderer, would you?
Yeah. Do I have to actually go on dates?
I want to say yes.
No, but you have to set them and then cancel them last minute.
Oh, so just do what everybody does anyway.
Yeah.
I could do that if I got paid. And listen, Brandon, I know what I want, and all I want is someone who has a magic demon penis that will then go inside of me and then ejaculate into me, and then radiant cosmic light will cause me to explode.
Yeah.
So you want the classic love story.
The classic love story. The classic love story that is completely on display in what movie did we watch today?
Legend of the Overfiend.
And I don't know how to say the other title.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
It's true.
So anyway, welcome to the obscure the real obscure podcast.
Oh, I'm glad we're on all cylinders today.
Where we watched Urotsuki Doji.
See?
There we go.
Worth it.
We got that.
Thank you. All right, yeah, welcome back to the Real Obscure Podcast. And today we watched Legend of the Overfiend, as you already probably figured out. And we actually don't have Nick in here, and I'm not even going to deign to call this a studio.
But what is your name? I'm not sure I know your name.
You know what my name is.
I don't know.
I'm the Chojin, Brandon.
Oh, so you're the... Okay. You're going to reunite the three realms.
That's right. But first I have to destroy them.
Oh, see?
And destroying the realms with me today is...
Well, Brandon Freeze.
As always.
Huh?
And since we don't have Nick today, we have Racquel.
What's up? I do feel like I need to introduce myself as Racquel-chan!
I need you to talk like that.
just the entire time. Yeah, because that wouldn't be entirely annoying.
And I'm Anthony Trevino, but everybody knows that because I have the most obnoxious voice on this podcast. And
you just got to do your Wolfman Anthony voice, and everyone.
Hey, look, no, he's a wolf adult. Okay,
I'm a weird-adult.
Uh-huh.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Real Obscure Podcast. This sounds more like my Tom Waits voice than my Wolfman Jack voice.
Perfect.
Oh,
A+.
I had practiced it for the other episodes that didn't happen, and then it got ruined. Why isn't Nick here today, Brandon?
Card trouble. That's what I hear.
You know,
He's had card trouble for 2 weeks. He's still sitting on the 5.
Come on. It's gonna happen.
You know who doesn't have car trouble?
Who?
This girl.
Oh shit!
Right.
Oh shit!
Who's got a working car and
Straight fire, Nick. Straight fire. You watch your jump.
I loved seeing those claps show up on the sound read.
And this is the point where Nick turned the episode off and then texted me to be like,
You debut Wolfman Anthony without me, and then you make fun of me? Oh!
And then he sends you another text, and he's like, for your information, I am still on the 5.
I can't figure out what the number is for a tow truck, okay? Anyway,
Nick the Rock Johnson will be back for the Creep Creepers in episodes.
that's right. And in that vein, I know we said at the end of the last episode that this episode would be a Creep Creepers in episode, but since Nick couldn't make it, we had to switch around the schedule a little bit. So
we had to watch some anime.
we had to watch some anime.
So, well, I don't want to call it animu, but I would like to know a little bit about Racquel. Racquel, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Racquel. I write shit sometimes. And I went to school with Anthony.
It's true.
And I lived in Korea for 2 years. And in that time, I went to Japan 8 times. So maybe I can talk about some anime.
Give us a little more context for the weirdness that we saw.
Yeah, maybe.
I honestly feel like Racquel was the most qualified person to watch and talk about this movie with us.
Yeah, fuck you, Nick.
What? Whoa!
I'm
Straight
joking!
fire! Straight fire!
Straight fire! Straight fire! Straight fire! So if you can't tell, we have lost our goddamn minds.
Yeah, and
I feel like I need a soundboard, like a radio DJ soundboard, and just play like a toilet flushing noise every once in a while.
Auga!
it's every time someone mentions Nick's name, it's a toilet flush.
Hi, Poppy.
I should mention that I've never met Nick before.
Nick, I hope knows that this is all in good fun.
It's just a joke,
But I've
but you're
heard.
dead to us.
But honestly, well, I'm not going to give away how I felt about this movie until we really get into it. So today, we watched...
At some point in time, I looked over and Anthony had his notebook over his crotch, so maybe we can probably explain how he felt about
He
it.
had that middle school move way down.
Listen.
I don't want to give my presentation just yet. Can we wait a few turns?
No, don't look at me, Brandon. I'm trying to watch this movie and pay attention. Go!
Why are your legs...
Close the door!
Why are your legs wiggling so fast?
You sure keep going to the bathroom a lot.
You got a bladder infection or something?
So this movie opens on a demon orgy.
It's true. Well, first it starts. The first shot is a bunch of flames in some...
I mean, I guess technically it starts with, like, some backstory bullshit, but then it goes right into a demon orgy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine by me.
Hey, I'm not complaining.
Me neither.
All right, see you guys later.
So I tried very hard to keep notes on where this movie went, and towards the end it got really difficult.
It is a convoluted story that is confusing to follow, but in general,
It goes a bit too long.
it goes a little bit too long.
So what you're saying is that it's an anime.
I have very limited experience with anime.
Brandon,
That
resident
is-
anime expert,
That's
please.
right. You guys, I've seen Akira once, so I know what I'm talking about.
Oh wow, what a weeb.
What? So, but don't sell yourself short. You've also seen Ghost in the Shell.
I have seen Ghost in the Shell, so there's that too. You
Yeah.
guys, I'm just the best.
I can tell you about all the shoujo manga I read when I was in high school.
I legitimately don't know.
Shoujo, oh, Jesus. Shoujo is like, it's like the girl, like the stuff for girls. So it's very like cutesy and lovey, and like it takes 18 issues for like a couple to hold hands or kiss or something like that. So the polar opposite of what we just watched today.
So more like there's some manga or anime about a girl and like a wolf or something. You guys,
You did all right?
I'm not being helpful. Spice and Wolf. That's what I'm thinking of. So,
Sure.
man,
We are killing it today.
we are on fire today.
All right,
so,
your resident anime experts here.
So-
about this anime movie.
So yeah, like Racquel said, Demon Orgy. There's a lot of you gotta find the Chojin.
Yep. Which is this being that is going to destroy or unite the three realms, which is the demon realm, the earth realm,
and the beast realm.
and the beast realm.
So not the future world.
No.
So not the
when it
future
replayed that opening at the very end, that's what it said. So there's the human world, the beast world, and the demon world.
Okay.
So the beast and the demon are
So
kind
this-
of different.
This is an anime movie from 1987. And
Well, I think 1987 was when they released the first. They released it in, I believe, 3 episodes
okay.
in 1987, and then later in 1989 they released it as a movie. And here's another thing to note: there's multiple versions of this movie that have been cut and put out there, but I think we watched somewhere between the overly censored one and the fully uncut one because no one filleted a demon dick that then exploded into spikes.
Yeah, I was promised that, and it did not deliver.
I did not
so-
promise that.
Jesus Christ, sorry.
Respect.
Want to libel you?
And it's one of the funniest things that I noticed right off the bat is that there's a disclaimer right away saying every character in this movie is 19 years or older.
Yeah, that's a common thing in a sexy anime. It doesn't matter what they are. They could, like, just in this movie, they're in high school, but there is a notice at the beginning that says they're all over age. They're all adults.
Yeah, it's
They're all adults.
The-
We go to adult high school.
Yeah.
I am an 18-year-old still in high school. Thank you.
19
sorry,
year old.
19. It's also put out by Kitty Media.
meow.
Meow.
Kitty, Kitty,
Yeah, not-
not Kiddy.
Nope, that would be different. I would not have that.
Could you imagine you rent a movie, it's a VHS, right, back in the day, so you can't do any research about it. You put it in, and then all it says is Kitty Media, Kiddy. Well, I'm taking this back to the video store immediately.
And then the next thing is all these kitties are over 19 years of age.
Well, all right, well, now I'm reevaluating turning this movie off.
Just a bunch of real old cats just wandering around.
Yeah, it's a-
Meow.
Wow, welcome back to the Cat Cast, where it's 2 hours of me and Brandon doing unattractive cat impressions.
Meow.
Or just the heinous sounds of cats fucking, and just, it irritates me beyond belief.
That scream? God! It's so loud.
It's just a solid bar on the capture.
I'm so sorry, Brandon. We should probably cut that out. It's real annoying. Right. So I actually didn't know that most adult anime starts with a disclaimer saying everybody's of age, even though we're all sophomores here, right?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter how they are drawn in any way. Like, you'll be looking at it and be like, no one in the entire world would look at this picture and say that is of an adult woman. But then there's always going to be that disclaimer at the beginning that says, like, they're all 18 years old.
So they're like,
So, yeah.
our hands are clean.
Hands are clean, they're all 18.
We did the legal obligation of saying none of them are this age, so you can't sue us.
Now put all the girls in pigtails.
Now everybody write middle school above me. We're in high school. So we get to the demon orgy, then we cut straight to a girls' locker room
Yes.
where
Right, yes.
there's just general dialogue among 18-year-old girls in a locker room.
19.
Sorry, 19.
19-year-old adults talking
And-
about the big game.
And that's where we meet 2 of the major characters, right?
Yeah, that's where we will meet who we first referred to as Mr. Bulge. We have our main protagonist, Nagumo.
And Akime.
Akemi, his crush. getting changed, slipping off her panties.
That
in
is... Is that
locker
also really common in anime, Racquel, where there's
Are you
just...
asking me if panty shots are really common in anime?
Yes.
Hold on. Let me look that up on the internet real quick. Yeah.
That's like exclusively what it is.
Hey, I don't know. I don't watch a whole lot of anime. Much like Brandon, I've seen Akira
And Legend of the Overfiend.
and A Ghost in the Shell. Okay, go.
Careful.
And she's the object of Negumo's desire, obviously, and not because he's looking at her lovingly from, he's hiding in the closet of the locker room.
He's hiding in the closet and jacking off.
Yeah, he's jacking off.
He's hiding in a dark
genuine
closet.
in a dark closet.
And like rubbing himself over his jeans.
Yeah.
And he reaches climax in this closet.
And
then
about
that's
20 seconds tops.
Yeah.
Well, that becomes prevalent throughout most of the movie.
Uh-huh.
He premature is all over the place.
Every time.
Every time.
Every
true.
time.
And he hides, they go in, he's hiding from them, and then we cut to the basketball game, where you meet,
The jock, Ozaki.
yeah, and it's a whole, excuse me?
Huh?
We meet Ozaki, but we also meet, the cat man, whose name I've now forgotten.
Yeah, Amano.
And he's chilling, he's just hanging out.
In the
He's
rafters.
in the like the bleachers, right?
No, I think he's up.
No, yeah,
up
he was up in the
ceiling.
rafters somewhere.
He's just hanging out like a real cool blue-haired cat man.
Yeah.
He's just chilling.
With his, little Martian monkey friend.
It's never explained why he looks like a cat man.
Yeah.
Nope.
And basically, Nagumi walks out and he's trying to hide his massive bulge and falls into the vault. I guess are they basketballs?
Well, I don't know. It's a bin of balls.
Yeah.
It's just a bin of balls that he falls into like it's Jello.
Yeah.
And then
Ozaki notices that he's watching the cheerleaders, and he says it's an inner monologue, and he's saying, "That's not the way you're supposed to look at people. He's being a real pervert. I'm gonna go over there and give him a talking to. That talking to ends up with him licking his face."
yeah,
Yep.
licking the blood off of his
Yep.
face.
He has a little cut on his cheek, and he just licks it right off.
And pointing out to everyone in the auditorium of this adult high school that Nagumo has this big bulge in his pants.
And they all mock him. Yeah.
Like you do as an adult, you laugh at people when they're aroused.
Yes.
Which is definitely not how you end up becoming a serial killer.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
That's become a theme on this podcast now.
Serial
This is
killer?
the second episode where we talk about having people's dicks laughed at.
Yeah, that's
Eh,
true.
well, all right. They say discuss what you know.
You know what? That's right. We've all been there, right, guys?
Guys,
Racquel.
who else has laughed at your penis?
I'm gonna have to say no one on that one.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
Had to do my 90s anime laugh, so.
After that, Akemi meets up with her teacher, and her teacher says, "Hey, there's something I really want to talk to you about. Let's go talk in this. Is it a? You don't even know what it is. It looks like a science.
I've already forgotten about that.
How?
part.
How could you forget
Yeah.
about that
Because
part?
so much shit happens after that's
Yeah.
way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Akemi's teacher, I don't remember, what was her name?
Miss Monster.
Miss Tagemi?
Tagemi. Okay,
Miss
so
Tagemi.
she's like, Akemi, I need to talk to you about something. Akemi's like, teacher Nani, what is it? and then teacher's like, I need to talk to you as a woman. And Akemi's like, what? What's going on? And then the teacher's like, I gotta feel you as a woman feels another woman. And then just like...
Because you are 19 years old.
Because we are consenting adults.
Consent is not a thing in this
No,
movie.
consent is a thing that never happens. Maybe in one scene.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But close to the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then the lady teacher turns into a demon with a bunch of tentacles coming out of her and rapes Akemi.
First of all, Akemi's clothes
oh, yeah.
just explode off of her.
She was wearing a leotard, and the leotard just explodes.
It rips off her like she's wearing paper towels.
Yeah.
But in an explodey kind of way.
And then it turns into just this multi-tentacle dicked rape.
In the purest sense of the term, it's just tentacle rape porn. At that point.
It turns into what the rest of the movie is.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
It's just this demon monster with tentacles raping a woman, and it's cool looking. But
Whoa, Brandon, can we
I mean-
rephrase that, please, for the court?
the character designs are really cool in this movie.
Mr. Freeze, exactly what is cool looking
I'm not
about...
falling into your trap, goddammit! We're here talking about an anime! If I'm going down, I'm taking all of you with me!
I want to also point out that Anthony probably had a boner the entire time he was
true.
watching this movie.
That's not true.
That's true.
Pretty...
That's why I made you this trophy that says Mr. Bulge.
So that happens.
Anthony, before we move forward, I want to ask, roughly, how many times did you say, I like that, during this movie?
Not during any of the rape scenes. Oh, you guys are the worst.
Sure about that?
I'm regretting this episode.
I'm just saying, if you're trying to throw me under the bus...
There was one scene in particular that Anthony did like the most, and we'll get to that later. And I'll give it to him that was not a rape scene.
Thank you.
So
Jesus.
I'll get you one day, Trevino.
Listen, I'm all about weird sex stuff.
Uh-huh.
And aside from the amazing art design, except for the rapey stuff, some scenes are kind of sexy. Up until the rapey stuff.
I'm just gonna also add that almost every single time there's sex stuff, it's also rape stuff in this movie.
Yeah, that's
99% of the
99%.
the sex stuff.
Well,
the
it
sex stuff is
doesn't
rape.
start that way every time. Every time. Every time. I'm not defending this. You know what?
Sure about that?
You fell into my trap.
You want to defend some rape stuff?
Anthony Trevino, rape apologist.
No! That's not what I'm saying.
So while poor Akemi is being raped by her demon monster teacher, you have our protagonist hero Nagumo out in the hall and with Blue Catman watching this. And Nagumo wants to go in and be like, oh, what's happening to my poor Akemi? And then Akamo stops him. And he's like, don't you know?
Hey,
don't
this is just getting
stop it.
sexy. What are you doing?
Don't stop. Why would you go in? You narc.
Fucking square?
Yeah.
So,
Yay! We're doing a podcast!
this is recorded and it's going on for the internet. It's going to exist forever.
God, I hope not. Can we just trunk this episode?
Nope.
So Ayumu eventually goes in to confront the demon teacher.
Yes.
And realizes, and this is where you realize that Ayumu is also a powerful being and not just some Joe Cool high school kid that looks kind of like a kitty cat.
Right. And that's when you find out that he's spent the past 300 years looking for the Chojin?
The Chojin?
The Chojin, yeah. The Chojin and the Overfiend are the same thing.
Right.
Right. And so basically the idea is these demons, like the one that's raping this poor girl, are also looking for the Chojin / Overfiend.
Right.
Because they want to unite the three realms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
While the blue-haired Catman, which I'm never going to remember his name.
Ayumu?
Ayumu, yes, thank you.
Amano?
Wait.
What a...
It's definitely
Yep.
Amano.
All right.
Amano, blue-haired Catman, which I'm going to keep calling him, is kind of the opposite end. He wants to protect him and find him and make sure everything goes according to plan because he wants the everything to...
He's really into that segregation of the three realms.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So after that scene, Akemi like, goes off with Nagumo and I guess doesn't... I don't know, there's a scene when she's, like, banging on his chest and he's like, tell me it was a hallucination. Tell me it didn't really happen. And Nagumo was like, I swear it didn't happen.
He's like,
nothing happened. Eat this ice cream.
yeah, that didn't happen.
From here, the plot gets kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
I feel like going beat by beat in this movie is kind of a futile gesture because
so much happens whether we beat her for hours, even though it was only like an hour and a half movie.
Because it is very convoluted.
I don't remember where exactly I couldn't keep track of what was happening because it feels like the same things keep happening in different locations.
There was a lot of, like, someone comes to fight the Chojin, and then, like, the Chojin dies, but then the Chojin comes back, and then Chojin kills the person who was trying to kill him, and then that person comes back, and there's a lot. I'd say the overarching plot, like, if we give a TLDR on this plot, you have Amano, who's trying to protect the Chojin, and all these demons that are trying to fight the Chojin, who is Negumo. And all the while, Negumo is also trying to protect Akemi, because everyone who wants to kill Nagumo seems to kind of go through Akemi to get to him. And it kind of, like I said, there's a lot of death and then resurrection and then death again and resurrection again until it all culminates at the end when you find out that the Chojin isn't really who Amano thought he was.
He just brought death and destruction and killed everything.
Yes.
Basically. And who ends up being the Chojin? It's the fetus.
Right. So finally, Negumo and Akemi finally get to bang after they tried, like, how many times? Like 3 times or something?
Which is what starts the full-on apocalypse, is them having sex. Because first they're having very passionate, consensual lovemaking, which is the first thing.
Like 20 seconds.
And then but he starts growing and
he starts
growing
turning into the Chojin.
Yeah, he's getting all super yoked.
Yeah.
And going... and
his eyes start glowing red.
And Akemi seems, like, mildly concerned with this. She's just like, oh, he's changing. But then she's also just like, yeah.
yeah.
But hey, I'm having a good time.
I'm having a good time. Like, she doesn't really seem that bothered by it. Mm-hmm. And then when he, like, comes and she, like, also does it create, I guess she got insta-pregnant.
Super with a 100-year gestation period. Yeah, that sucks.
So really, the real Chojin is not Nagumo. The Chojin is inside of Akemi's, womb. It's the baby that is being formed and will be formed for 100 years, while Akemi is holed up in Osaka Castle, and Nagumo destroys the entire world until the baby is done baking in the oven, and then can go on to destroy probably the rest of the realms as well.
But I thought their Akemi's whole thing was to create something better, you have to destroy what came before it and rebuild.
Oh yeah, Akemi was trying to...
That's my Akemi voice.
That's spot on.
Nagumo-kun! Daisuke! So there's a scene at the end before like the baby gets, like, real sentient and starts taking over. Akemi, like, flies up into Nagumo's hand, and then she's like, we gotta put an end to this. She, like, wants to stop it. And she wants Nagumo to crush her in his hand and kill her. And then he'll also die, I guess.
Do you think
the world can go on?
Do you think there were a bunch of incels sitting around watching this movie going, oh, she's so fucking, she's gonna get crushed in his fucking hand.
That tiny woman.
Oh, she's so fucking small. God. And then he got on OkCupid and he was like, looking for my tiny Akemi? Who I could crush in my hand.
I don't think the incels would like Akemi as much as you think they do, because she was obviously not a virgin.
Oh, fuck.
True.
Yeah, all right.
So
well.
she's been tainted by another woman at that.
Wow.
So anyway,
Wow.
that's kind of the general overview of the movie. It towards the end it does get a little tedious because it is pretty crazy from start to finish. It's just monsters and tentacles and rape, and it's kind of that for the entire movie.
Yeah.
And towards the end, it's just like you're kind of desensitized to it.
I mean, it should go without saying that the thing that causes these, like, because Nagumo was just like a dude, like he was just a human guy, and then these demons and whatnot have been living inside of all these people.
Right.
And what brings out the demon in these people is when they get aroused or have sex or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So that's the general theme throughout, is like literally anything that started with sex or sexual feelings even ends in
Death
demon, death, rape,
and destruction.
Like, yeah.
So is the subtext of this movie, sex is bad?
I mean,
Sex is dangerous.
Yeah, I think that might actually, for me, that's what I took away from the movie, was the movie's trying to get me to be, like, convinced that, hey, if you have sex, you're gonna explode, friend. And what's interesting, I think it was hard for me to pay attention right around the point where we introduce a completely new character who was, I can't remember his name, but he's the guy who the two demons visit,
Nikki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two PI demons.
Yeah.
One of them is a demon wearing a fucking trench coat and a fedora.
Detective Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they tell him, all right, so if you want to be powerful and you want to stop being picked on, you gotta cut off your dick, bro.
You gotta cut off your dick.
And then attach this giant monster dick we're gonna give you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like a Cronenberg nightmare.
Yeah. How would you even affix that?
It's just,
You
magic
just
glue.
Assuming you wake up from passing out after the act of cutting your own dick off.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I think the reality is what happened to Nicky? Oh, we found him. He's dead. And he cut his own dick off.
And he's holding another dick that isn't his.
And it does not look human.
It doesn't even really look like a dick, but I mean, it's definitely a dick.
It's definitely a dick.
I think if I'm visited by two monsters, one dressed as a detective and the other wearing a hat that says Metropolis on it, and they hand me a monster dick and they say, "Hey, cut your dick off," and then that one will be great. I'm not really going to worry about the logistics. I'm just going to be like, "Hey, man, whatever you say, monsters."
I'm perfectly fine with just being a regular old nerdlinger.
So, but that I want to say that also is kind of the catalyst of Anthony's favorite scene. I want to make sure we don't pass this over.
Oh, no.
So you see Nikki getting humiliated by one of the,
the
jocks, and then sorry, Nikki gets rejected by Akemi because this whole thing has started because Nikki is also in love with Akemi, who wants not really anything to do with him because her boy is Nagumo. And so Nikki, like these other girls, just like a group of other girls are like, go up to Nikki and are like, oh, she doesn't want you? Come have fun with us. And then they just cut to a room where like Nikki just like has his dick out, and then like all these naked hot girls are just humiliating him, and like this beautiful naked girl shoves her foot in his mouth.
Yeah.
And she's like take this my foot, but then she like kicks him because like he wants to go touch her foot, and she's like, don't touch it with your nasty hands.
Swine.
It's pretty great. Listen,
That's pretty cool.
I'm tired of Brandon kink shaming me.
I am not kink shaming you. I am making fun of your kinks.
That's the same thing.
Fuck you.
Cut to Anthony being like, hey guys, I just really need to use the bathroom real quick.
Okay, listen, I didn't use the bathroom. That was a joke. And then they all exploded.
You committed
and
to the
then
joke
they all
though. You got up
exploded.
and walked away.
Because he did, take his this is after the demon dick, right?
No, this is before, because he gets... No, so what happens is he gets humiliated by all the girls, and then they explode,
right.
and then those two demons show up because they're the reason everyone in the room explodes.
Right.
And they're like, hey man, you want to stop being
You want to stop being a nerd? Just cut off your own dick.
They're like, listen here, you fucking soy boy.
It's like I wanted to so badly, like, you want to stop becoming such a nerd? Just cut your dick off, man. And they go around a corner, unzip their costumes, and it's just the jocks that made him do that. You don't think he's gonna do it, do you? No way, man. We cut to him later.
And he does it by holding the cleaver, but he's holding it with two hands up, like he's lifting his shirt up to pee or something.
And Nikki definitely holds his shirt up to pee. He pulls his pants all the way down, pulls his shirt all the way up, and then just stands there and pees.
He just straight butters it.
Yep. How's it going?
So because I don't have a lot of experience with anime or hentai, which we can pause for a second. I actually learned something this morning when I was doing a little teensy amount of research that here in America we see hentai as a genre, but in Japan it's more a term to be used for when you're talking about something that's more perverse or
so just anything that's like sexual content, and that can be anything from like live action to anime. It's just called ecchi. Ecchi, which is the Japanese way to say H. So they'll just call it H. And that can be, just the regular, like, pornographic anime. But then, and it also includes hentai, but hentai is kind of more specific. Hentai is like, the pervy, tentacle rapey stuff.
So what we just watched?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas over here, we just refer to hentai as any sexual anime.
Right. See?
And I think it's also important to note that this movie is fantastically violent.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
crazy.
Almost there are no women in the movie who don't get murdered.
And that actually is my next question. Like I'm on a jury or a panel. Because where I was going with this is because I don't have a whole lot of experience with anime, and Brandon obviously doesn't either. But you have more than we do, obviously, Racquel. Is that common? Is kind of like the brutalization of female characters in anime pretty common?
Brutalization of women in a sexual way is kind of common in Japanese media, in not just anime. Like, there's a lot of Japanese porn that, is non-animated that has to do with the I guess violence, harm against women. And I can't really say, I'm not an expert on this in any way, shape, or form, but
you are on this podcast.
I guess.
All we're saying is that Racquel knows more than us. We're not saying she's an expert.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that really stands out. Maybe it didn't stand out to anybody watching it in 1987 or 89, but watching it in 2018, you're kind of sitting there going, Jesus, every female character either gets raped or killed or both.
I think if you get a completely random selection of 5... or let's do 10. Give you a random selection of 10 Japanese pornos, whatever. Pornographic films. I would probably say that at least 7 of those have a woman saying no or stop or it hurts at some point in time. It's just a really... And that's just kind of from my own experience. It's a very common thing. So, yeah.
Now, can you explain why it's a common thing in Japanese culture?
I mean, it's
Can you please explain yourself?
Let's look at the character of Akemi in this. All right, you see her get brutalized and raped and almost raped and sexually coerced, and then. Even by a character who she then cares about, when he is dead or almost dead. You have Nikki who almost dies at some point in time, and when Nagumo killed Nikki, even though Nikki was just about to rape her, Akemi is really concerned with the fact that oh no, you hurt Nikki, you killed him. And then goes running after Nagumo, who's upset that he just killed Nikki. And it's like, I don't know, it's a very Japanese way of like Akemi is the waifu in this. She's the ideal woman who is both very sexual and yet is innocent because she doesn't seem to want to have sex, but when she's in love with you, she does, but with other people, she doesn't. And she's completely caring and like loving and beautiful, so that even if someone was trying to hurt her, she doesn't like have ill will against them. And even if someone does something perverse to her, she is the incel fantasy, really.
Right,
that's what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that you do see that very commonly, and especially in like these, hentai, the perverted porn and whatnot. That's certainly not how women are throughout all of Japanese media. Like I said, I watch a lot of shoujo where it's like completely the opposite of that, and it's like you hurt a woman and she's like, "You hurt me, I can never speak to you again." So, I mean, I don't know why, dude. I don't know why.
We're only asking because our experience is so limited, and we're two
fantasy.
dudes.
The answer why is because not a single woman worked on this project.
Oh, yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that's why.
Except probably the voice actors.
Yeah, that's
obviously. Why. It's just it's something that I think definitely should be pointed out for this film.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird time capsule.
There was definitely like a theme of like, oh man, we haven't killed any women for 5 minutes. We gotta kill some more women.
Here's an unrelated rape and murder scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no one in this movie dies like someone gets shot in the head and they just die. So, like someone would get shot in the head, the bullet would drill through their head down their neck, light would come out of their eyes, and their skin would melt off in ribbons.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Oh, it's awesome. But it's like every death in this movie is more violent than the last.
Yeah.
And the art style is really cool. Like everything looks kind of like a heavy metal magazine cover, where there's like these big castles with spikes on them.
Yeah, the art's great. The story seems, again, not reading a lot of anime or manga, the story seems pretty standard, right?
It sometimes it gets confusing because every time someone, either the Chojin or Nikki, turns into a monster, it's a different monster
they
each
like
time.
look different each time.
So you can't really keep track of what's
like,
really going on.
Growing and evolving and whatnot.
Which is cool to look at visually, but very confusing to keep track of what's happening in the narrative. And some characters kind of show up and then they're never back again.
And they're never back.
And I think in the last 15 minutes there's a character that seemed like he was very important that we had never seen before.
Blanca.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Vega. Yeah. The guy looks like a buff Vega showed up.
I'm sort of wondering though if that might be because we are seeing the not full version. Like
that might be it.
I mean, maybe these parts got cut and like.
Also, I believe there's a second film.
Okay.
I think there's a continuation of it, and this was adapted from a manga.
So maybe that character was in there, and
they just put him in at the end. Yeah. So I don't think I don't know if I had any other questions, but for you, Racquel, because this is just an interview now. What do you really think the message and the subtext of this movie is? Because one of the things that I wanted to do with this podcast was to not just talk about the story and what happens, but maybe the people who made it. And so I get the impression that this is just a very dominating male fantasy about the dangers of sex.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that message. Like, if that is what they actually intended for the message, then it's almost like a really, meta thing. Because it would be, Like, we're going to make a hentai movie about the dangers of having sex and market it towards the most, like, perverse members of our society. So, I mean, I'm not saying that that's not, because I can't really understand any other message besides that.
Right. And it's a total male fantasy where
oh yeah, exactly.
women they're either getting raped or dying, and I think there's exactly one scene of a woman enjoying sex, consensual sex,
until it turns into not.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Was a lot of scenes start like consensual sex. There's the three-way in what's in Ozaki's apartment with the three girls, and they're all fine and enjoying it until his dick lights up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's
And
kryptonite inside it.
It starts emanating this emerald light, and then the girls run out, but he runs out into the hallway to find them all slaughtered.
Yeah.
Like one's cut in half, hanging from the ceiling. Other ones are just splattered everywhere.
It just seems like the female characters are used as such. They're barely even characters. They're more props than anything else throughout the majority of the movie, and that sucks. It's frustrating.
Yeah,
and I don't know. That's why I keep going back to the male fantasy idea of the story. I mean, they literally tell this kind of. I would consider Nikki like an incel before they tell him, hey, just cut your dick off and use this giant dick because that's what makes you powerful.
That's what's going to solve all your problems.
The bigger the dick, the more ladies you get.
Yep, that is a pretty...
Which is kind of like a long thought of kind of, what would you say? It's just kind of like a male... What am I trying to say?
Well, yeah, like, you know...
Bro, if you got a big dick, you get the ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
Except for Akemi.
She's
She's immune to that. She's got Nagumo's big dick energy.
That's true.
Like...
That's what this episode needs to be called. Legend of the Overfiend, big dick energy.
But yeah, that's a total incel mindset where it's, you know...
It's because I wasn't attractive. That's why I couldn't get any girls.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's
because my dick wasn't big enough, or it wasn't muscular enough.
I had this tiny little baby dick. That's why I couldn't get any girls.
It's a guy who's
adult women.
Adult women. Jesus Christ. Oof.
This is the most fucking problematic episode we've had so far, and oh god.
But like, that's the kind of mindset that comes from people who get their sexual knowledge strictly from porn.
Yeah.
Right.
Where you have these ideal men, these ideal women, and they're like, that is what normal sex is. And
God, and anyone who's ever had sex before can tell you that is not the case.
No, of course
it's
not.
a lot of... All right, hold on.
All
right, wait.
It's a lot of logistics.
It's just... Okay, hold on.
Can you turn 35 degrees to the left?
Can you... Okay. Ow.
Oh, ow.
Teeth.
Ow.
And just...
Move your thumb. Move your thumb.
Yeah. Are you trying to gnaw on my clitoris? Or...
Not anymore.
Oh, sorry. I saw this video once of this girl eating sunflower seeds. I just thought that's what you were supposed to do.
I gotta go.
Wow, we derailed.
Filthy.
We derailed
Nick,
so hard.
Be glad you're not here for this because you won't be indicted on any of these charges.
Yeah. So just kind of discussing the film. I don't know where we can really go from here, you guys.
I mean, like I said, the story is pretty convoluted, but pretty simple at the same time. So there's not much to talk about story-wise. I think this movie's strongest point by far is the art style.
Yeah.
The music is silly.
No, the music's loud and obnoxious and very 80s.
A lot of electronics and synths and.
Would you, since we've kind of discussed a little bit, rather poorly, except for Racquel, would you do this movie differently? Would you like to see a version of this movie that didn't basically end in the complete brutalization of every female character?
There's no movie without that.
What do you mean?
Like, what happens if that's not happening?
Well, I mean, the male characters can die too. There's no reason that every time sex is involved, that the woman is the one that has to die.
Yeah, well, I mean, women are played as these like fragile little things or kind of disposable, but the men, if one dies, he always comes back.
Yeah.
And
he comes back
the
stronger.
women alive and around the dead male character are so distraught by it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I mean it's I would like to see a version of this movie with that problem
Result cut out.
figured out.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you could do it and still have it be this movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that's a completely different movie.
Because it that's kind of all this movie is really. It's
just dicks,
yeah,
dicks,
it's just
demon
a
dick.
monster. I'm a monster. Oh shit, I'm dead, but now I'm
I
stronger.
have a bigger, stronger dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I have 6 of them wiggling all around.
Literally, there were a dozen dicks destroying a hospital building.
Yeah.
If that's not big dick energy, I don't know what is.
The first time you see Nagumo as the Chojin, he is just like a bunch of tentacle, giant, huge dicks destroying the
He
hospital.
goes 20 feet tall, and these
Yep.
dicks kind of snake in and out of the hospital, absorbing people into
Yes.
them. And
Let us not forget about all the pink semen lasers shot across the
so
city.
many.
There's so many.
So much peak simulators.
Yeah.
So many. And what we didn't bring up is that the way they get their power is by either ingesting the Chojin's blood
Or
semen.
Or semen. That's
So-
why. That's when Nikki becomes extra strong because he got the blood and the semen.
Which is my favorite line of dialogue in this movie. Ha ha ha, I've got your blood and your semen now.
And then he flies off into the night.
Yeah. No, then he's like thrown back into that house, and then he shows up as that monster that's way tinier,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and he ends up dying anyway.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
And then that's when Akemi is very distraught. Like, oh no, you
Yeah,
killed Nikki, the guy who
and-
was trying to rape me.
And I think
a minute ago.
Right.
that's where you start tuning out in the movie, because it just becomes different versions of the same scene.
Yeah.
It's monster fight. Oh no, so and so. Hey, I'm back. Monster fight. Few minutes of not fighting. More big dick energy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it is just the same thing over and over again after a point, and it does get a little tedious. And I made the comment as we were watching it that it felt like I was watching it for 4 hours after a certain point, because it was just like, all right, let's get to the
When
end of
we
this.
get to the big apocalyptic destruction of all the worlds, I was struggling to tune out
Yeah.
or to keep tuned in, because
Yeah.
it was.
And
It's
even when you
just-
think it's gonna end, it goes on a
It
little
just
longer.
keeps going.
Yeah, and I think that's besides all the problematic female characters and that type of stuff. I think that's one of the biggest problems with this movie is it's just after a while you just tune everything out, because if anyone can die at any time and come back, what does it matter?
Right. There's no stakes.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Because they all come back for the most part.
All the males come back.
Yeah.
And Megumi comes back.
So yeah, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say we should talk about Megumi, because I think she is probably the only character in the movie that has a not completely negative, destructive like sense of sexuality, and that's like when no men are involved, and she's just watching other people having sex, and then also like diddling herself at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And doesn't she comes back though, and her brother's like,
Yeah.
damn, rockin' titties.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
yeah, she comes back and like it's immediately like Amano opens his eyes and he just has tits in his face, and then the camera scrolls up and it's his sister, and you're like,
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's like in the script they're like, oh shit, we forgot one. Let's,
we haven't seen someone's tits, even though like in the first 3 scenes she's in, she's like completely bent over, and there's even one completely random scene where she's like trying to figure out if Nagumo is the Chojin, like before she knows, and she's like in the bushes kind of spying on him and Akemi, and then this completely random that you don't see at any other point in the movie, like perverted guy comes behind her and like pokes her in the cooch, and then she like, you know, punches him in the face and he goes away.
Yeah, he looks like staircase pervert from Little Otis.
He does. He does. He has big round sunglasses. Yeah. He looks just like him.
Yeah. But even then, the movie just kind of ends and doesn't give that character any more agency.
Oh yeah, the last thing you see of Megumi, she's like in Amano's arms, right?
Yeah.
Like passed out.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The only girl who's been somewhat competent the entire time and has been able to do anything. And at the very end, like literally she's being like princess carried away.
She's reduced to a damsel character, which sucks.
And she's also naked.
And she's naked.
And she's naked. Well, because all the incels have got to be like,
fuck yeah, bro! There was a lady who wasn't naked!
He's gonna fuck his sister, right?
We can't do this. You're my stepsister.
This is the filthiest podcast we've done.
Yeah, and then at the very end, you find out that Megumi was just his stepsister.
So it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So,
I did want to talk about one last thing, though. Because, I mean, this is, especially since the year, this was 1987, you gotta mention tentacle porn, right? And, like, why? Like, why is that the thing? And it reminded me of this kind of mini documentary that I saw once with the Japanese dude who's kind of credited as being, like, I guess the father of tentacle porn or whatever. So, like, okay, if you've ever seen Japanese porn, you'll know that it's censored. Even, like, the, you know, professionally made stuff.
So penetration is censored, right?
Genitals.
Anything.
Genitals.
Okay. You can show tits, but you can't show anything else.
No vagine.
No vagine.
No peen.
No peen. It's all censored. And even this is like, you know, professionally made porn that gets released and whatnot. It's all censored. And it's the same thing for manga as well. And that's a law in Japan that has like existed for a very long time up until today, which is why our porn is still like that in Japan. So what I learned is that this tentacle porn like was kind of created out of like this necessity or desire to kind of find a loophole in that law, because it's like, okay, you can't show like a penis penetrating a vagina, but it's not a penis, it's a tentacle.
It just happens to look just like a penis.
Yeah, but then that stuff wouldn't get censored because it's not technically a penis
Interesting.
going into a vagina.
I didn't know that.
So it was like, yeah, and since this was around that time, 1987, like, you know, this is probably a very good example of that loophole being
well, this
exploited.
movie keeps being credited as like the first tentacle porn movie,
Yeah.
but I don't know how valid that is.
Porn I mean, as with pretty much all anime, it always exists as like some type of literature or manga first, and then it gets made into a live action anime later. So I'm pretty sure tentacle porn existed in like manga and drawings and whatnot, but not in anime at that point.
Would you guys recommend this movie, Racquel?
I mean, despite like all the horribly problematic shit with it, like I still enjoyed it. It was kind of weird. Like if you haven't watched anime before, or you're not used to anime tropes and whatnot, don't watch this movie because you're gonna hate it.
Right.
But if you are somewhat familiar, at least, with like the weird shit that can happen in anime, then you might enjoy it.
I'd say I would recommend it based solely on the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
The story you don't really have to pay attention to because there's not a whole lot there. But I mean, if you want to put this on and then mute it and put on some music and just have a good time,
Have a good JO.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just, you know, put a bag over your head and
Cut the eyes out and then pull the bag back and then pull forward and back at the same time.
Yeah.
You're pulling forward on your dick while you're pulling your head back with a bag over your head.
yeah,
Is
I
that-
got it. Yeah, and you have the belt around your neck just a little too tight.
Wait, this is getting too elaborate,
It's
Brandon.
getting real specific, too.
Huh? What happened?
So would you recommend this movie or not?
I said yes. Based on the visuals. Based on the visuals, yes, because the visuals are awesome. The story, not so much. The problematic parts with the women, not really. But the visuals are great. But if you're like Racquel said, if you don't start here, start with Akira or Ghost in the Shell, or really anything else.
Akira? Start with the original Pokemon anime. You do not start.
You should start with some Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Work your way up.
Some Naruto.
Work your way up to some Dragon Ball Z.
Uh-huh.
Then Akira.
Yeah.
Then Ghost in the Shell. Then this.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go. I mean, this isn't important, but who cares? But I would go Ghost in the Shell than Akira because Akira is a lot more weird than Ghost in the Shell.
That's fair.
Anthony, would you recommend this?
I don't know. It really depends on who I'd be recommending it to.
It's like
Okay, a guy comes up to you in an alleyway. He's been awake for 3 days. He has a trench coat on. You're not sure if he has anything under. You can see a lot of chest. And he's like, hey man, I need to watch a movie right now. I need to watch an animated movie for adults. What have you got?
starring adults.
Starring adults.
19-year-old adults. I think I would recommend this to friends of mine who I know could really appreciate the art design.
God, you guys. Fucking just the art was really good.
Look, I don't want to say, hey, and there's tits too.
I don't think you guys understand how much Anthony enjoyed this movie, and now
Jesus
he's trying to play it off.
Christ.
And now he's trying to play it off, be like, the art, it was very visually interesting.
I was getting to that. If you will excuse me.
The art design was very...
The art was very aesthetically pleasing, but it was also very problematic.
I quit. That's it. This will sink me for life.
Anthony Trevino 100% endorses
No,
The Legend-
no, I don't.
The Legend of the Overfiend, endorsed by Anthony Trevino.
Starring high school students.
What the fuck?
Starring 15-year-olds.
No, oh
Hey.
my god, you guys, stop.
I'm sorry. We need, for legal purposes, we have to say that those 15-year-olds are 19 years old.
Yes.
This isn't fun anymore.
Even though someone specifically says they're celebrating their quinceañera, they're all 19 years old. Woo! We're losing our goddamn minds.
So Anthony, would you recommend this
Fuck
movie?
off.
Hey, Anthony,
Yeah.
would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I'd recommend this movie to anybody who really wants to watch some crazy, weird shit and who can appreciate the artistic bent. And, you know what? Fuck both of you.
Why?
Listen, I had a lot of issues with all the rape shit.
Mm-hmm.
I did not enjoy that. But before the rape shit happens, I wasn't opposed to some sexy animated times.
See, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. But there's certainly something wrong with the way you two are trying to frame it.
What are you talking about?
I fucking hate you. Shut. Oh my god. Brandon's so happy with himself right now.
I am. I said I'm going to destroy you, Trevino. Get you.
I think the message that we need to come away with is that, get it, come. And, it's that whether you're having sweet consensual sex with your boyfriend or you're about to be raped, you're gonna cry glitter.
That's true.
Wow.
Story is all this time.
That's the true message of this movie.
And this was still less problematic than Twilight.
Was it less problematic
No.
than Black Devil Doll from Hell?
This is more problematic.
All right, just checking.
Just based on volume.
Though, you know what? That's fair. That's true. So, yeah, Legend of the Overfiend. That's it. I don't know where to go from here because I'm going to go just watch the rest of my future burn alive before my eyes. So, good night, everybody. I'm Anthony Trevino.
I'm Brandon Freese, and I'm a talking pie.
And I'm your local anime girl.
And it has truly been a summer of the Legend of Overfiend. Goodbye!